Welcome back to Collins Country. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make maple syrup. It's honestly a very easy process, but it is very time consuming. So I'm also going to go over some tips and tricks to help you make the process a lot more manageable and take a lot less time. Let's do it.
So obviously to make maple syrup, you are going to need maple sap. So this is the maple sap that we collected yesterday. It's like 16-ish gallons. So I'm going to show you how we boil all of that down into making maple syrup.
And if you've never made maple syrup before, it does take a lot of maple sap to make maple syrup. It is a 40-to-1 ratio, meaning you need 40 gallons of maple sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup. So you do need a lot to do this. I'm doing almost 20 gallons, which will yield us almost a half a gallon of maple syrup, which will be roughly 2 quarts. Ignore my kid's sandbox back there. But anyway, I did want to explain that also I normally wait until I have a very large batch to make. So I usually wait until I have roughly 40 gallons of maple sap to make maple syrup just so I can do it all in one day. But it's so warm in Kentucky. It's currently 60 degrees outside. So the sap that we collect is only going to be good for about 3 days before it starts to spoil. So I need to boil it down today because my real job is that I'm a nurse and I work the next 3 days, 12-hour shifts. So I got to do it today. One last thing before we get started with actually making the maple syrup. The amount of time it is going to take you to turn your maple sap into maple syrup is going to depend on 2 things. The first one is how much sap you obviously have, and the second one is what your setup is. Now, you obviously cannot really control the amount of sap you have. You're going to be boiling down whatever you have and whatever God's nature and beautiful trees have given you, and hopefully it's a lot. But what you can control is your setup to either speed up or slow down that process tremendously. Let me show you 2 setups that I've used and the one that I like the most.
So the first 3 years that I made maple syrup, this was my setup. I had a fire similar to this. It was just a lot smaller, and I used these 2 pots right here. But as you can see with these 2 pots, they're not gigantic. I think this one holds maybe 3 gallons and this one is maybe a 2-gallon pot at most. And when you're making maple syrup, you can never fill your pots more than halfway because when they will boil over. So it would take me roughly 10 hours to boil down 20 to 30 gallons of sap in this. This system does work. I use this system because I had these pots. They were given to me. It was free, so I did not have to spend any money to make maple syrup. But this process takes forever because there's only so much surface area and you can only boil down so much sap at a time with these 2 small pots. But this is my new setup. It was roughly $100 on Amazon, and I cannot recommend it enough because look at how much bigger this is compared to that. The surface area that's getting touched by the fire is huge. I boiled down 20 gallons of sap the other day and it took less than 2 hours, which is incredible. And on this, it also has a little spout. So when you get it boiled down enough to take it inside to finish it, you just tip it up and you dump the sap out, which was so easy. So I will go ahead and link this product down in the description below. But if you want to go for a free option, just use whatever pots you have on hand that you don't mind ruining, because whatever you put on the fire, you can no longer use inside. If you use pots on a fire, they're just going to be outdoor pots from there on. All right, let's make it. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is make sure that your spout is closed so that when you put your sap in, it does not flow out the side, because I've never done that, but I can imagine that would be devastating.
Now, before you start your fire, you want to go ahead and get your maple sap into either your pot or your pan that you're going to be boiling it down in. I learned the hard way last time that if you start the fire, then put your pan on, then pour the maple syrup in, your pan will warp, which is not good. So we're going to pour the maple sap in first. And don't worry if there's leaves or any debris in it. That'll get strained out later when we take it inside. I will explain that. For now, just get your sap in there. If you're using pots, you do not want to fill them more than halfway full. If you're using a pan like this, the instructions say you can fill it up to 3/4 of the way full. And I can confirm that's right. It never boiled over the other day when we were doing it for the first time in this setup. Okay.
Here it is. We got the sap in there. Now we're going to start a fire. We got the fire started. Now the next thing you're going to do is just bring your sap to a boil, and you're going to keep boiling it down and keep feeding that fire so that it keeps boiling down, and you're just going to keep adding sap to it until you get it boiled down to a reasonable amount of sap to take inside and finish it off. I usually try to get it down to roughly 2 gallons. And this right here is one of the #1 reasons why I love maple tapping season. It forces us out of the house almost every day in the wintertime. The kids are always playing close by while we're making maple syrup. I got my nephew, my 5-year-old here today, and they're playing. It's just perfect. We are officially boiling. Looks great. And you don't have to sit here and stare at it all day if you've got a big pan like this. Honestly, I just check on it about every 20-ish minutes and make sure that the fire is still going and that the sap has not went down too much. And then I just add more sap to it as needed. Wow, it is really boiling now.
It's only been 30 minutes, but it's already boiled down a little over 2 inches, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more sap.
It only took about 2 minutes and it's already back to a boil. It's been about another 45 minutes and we are boiling down good. You can see that it has condensed a lot of it has been boiled out, and you can see that the color is starting to change. Notice that it's starting to get that slight amber color. That is great. That means that we are starting to condense the sugar and the maple sap to make maple syrup. I got this much sap left. I'm gonna go ahead and pour it in. I am purposefully letting that fire start to die down, and I'm not putting anything else in it because look, we are so close to taking this inside. This started as almost 20 gallons and we are down to just this. Also, another look from the back of our setup. You can see that we've just used cinder blocks. These are left over from where we did our house build, so we didn't have to pay anything extra for them, and it works really perfect. The only thing I will say is that it's not completely level, because every year the ground freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws and they kind of settle and it changes. The first year we put it up, obviously it was perfectly level, which is why you see now there's like a rake and a rock to try to level things out, because with the small pots it's not as much of a big deal as it is with this giant pan. I learned the hard way the last time we did this last week. It was unlevel. And where the sap had settled down over here, the bottom of the pan got exposed on this side and it scorched it really bad. And it put some of that burnt color into the sap. So that sap is almost black. But honestly, it tastes totally fine. It just tastes like normal maple syrup. So anyway, you do want to make sure that the sap covers the entire bottom of the pan at all times. Also, the rods we're using is just those metal rods that we also had left over from the house build. It's simple, but it works. We're officially gonna dump it out. You can see over here, we've only got like 1/8 of an inch before this part of the pan is exposed. So let's dump it out.
Okay, normally James is here to help me, so I'm gonna attempt to do this by myself and hopefully it's not a disaster. First I gotta get this stuff out of the way so I can tip it out. That wasn't supposed to go in there. Okay, I got some oven mitts, and normally we lift it up with sticks, but I'm gonna try to just use these and lift it up. That way, since I don't have a helper, I can make sure that my sap goes into the bucket. Hello. Hiya!
So you can see that 20 gallons, well, almost 20 gallons, simmered down to just that. Now we will take it inside and finish it on the stovetop. So now that I got this inside, we need to strain it out to get all of the debris out of this. So I'm going to strain it into a smaller pot, and I'm going to use a mesh colander with a cheesecloth. You can use just a mesh colander, but honestly, if you see the size of those holes in it, you still get a lot of debris and wood ash through there, so the cheesecloth helps to catch everything. Also, I just use what I have to make it work. I'm using a claw clip to hold it on and a spoon over there, because if you don't, this thing will, when you're trying to pour it, fall in there, and let me tell you, that is very frustrating when it happens. So make sure that this, if it's not big enough to stay up on its own, that you fasten it in place. Now that we've got it strained out, we're just going to bring it back to a boil. And we are boiling again. So now we're just gonna let it boil for a little bit to thicken up, which honestly might take like an hour. And then I will put my candy thermometer in it and we will watch the temperature start to rise. I'll explain that in a second. All right, you can see how much we have reduced. So now we are ready to put in our candy thermometer. You need a nice candy thermometer, I'm not gonna lie. This is a KitchenAid one that James got me off of Amazon. It's inexpensive and I really like it. I will link it down in the description below. This is also great because if you do make your own candy and stuff, this tells you what temperatures you need all the different types of caramels and hard candy. So anyway, let me explain the temperature here. So when you are boiling down your maple sap, it will boil at the same temperature that water boils at, which is dependent on your elevation. At an elevation of 1,000 feet or less, it boils at 212 degrees. So that is what this thermometer will show right now. But as it condenses the sugar and the sugar content in the liquid gets higher and higher, the liquid will actually be able to boil at a higher temperature. So to make maple syrup, you actually have to get that temperature to 7 degrees above the point at which water boils at your elevation. So for us here in Kentucky, at under 1,000 feet of elevation, water boils at 212. So for this to be maple syrup, we have to get this temperature to 219 degrees. I know it seems complicated, but I promise it is not. The temperature will naturally start to rise when it's ready, and you just shut it off when it gets to 219 degrees. Also, the higher in elevation that you live, the higher that temperature will need to be to reach the perfect maple syrup. And one really nice thing about maple syrup is you do not have to stir it at all. You just let it keep boiling. It will not scorch to the bottom. Sorry, our kids are playing in the background. Ignore all the screaming if you hear it in these videos. We're getting so close. You can see that it's thickening up, and we're hanging out right now at about 214 degrees. Now at this point, it is very close to being done. So this is where you do actually want to keep an eye on it. And you're gonna want to turn your heat down to medium heat, and I'll show you why. Right now we've got it on high. You'll notice that it starts to get frothy when it's really close. And it will bubble up, and it will bubble up so high that it will actually overflow your pot. See what's happening? See that? And it'll just keep rising. And then it'll raise the temperature on this so fast that some of it will start to crystallize, because you can actually turn maple syrup into maple sugar. Okay, you can obviously see what happens. So we're gonna turn that down to medium heat and let that go back down a little bit. Let's see what our temperature's at. Oh, we're almost there. 218. Just like one more minute. It got a little frothy again, but that's okay. I think we're there. Let's check our temp. We're there, 219 degrees. Let's shut the heat off. It has stopped boiling, but our maple syrup is still very hot. So we're gonna be very careful while we fill our jars not to burn ourselves. Now, another thing I wanna show you is the consistency. It looks really runny still because it is very hot, but as it cools, it thickens up a lot. But this is the consistency. If you wanna see it drip there off of the thermometer. And that's it. Now we just have to fill our jars. And also, I do want to point this out. The new jars from Forjars are amazing. I've been using their canning lids for years and really like them. They're a lot thicker than other ones, and they also have a thicker rubber ring, so they seal really well. I've actually never had a Forjars lid not seal. And they just started making jars in 2025, and the glass is significantly thicker than all the other brands. So if you're looking to get some more canning jars, I highly recommend Forjars. I'll have the link in the description, and there will also be a discount code down there for you as well. And because maple syrup is boiled at such a high temperature for so long, and it has such a high sugar content, you don't actually have to can these. So you don't have to put it in a water bath canner with boiling water. You also do not have to put it in a pressure canner. So just make sure you put your ring on fingertip tight, and as the maple syrup cools, the lid will naturally seal. So this right here is what we got, a quart and a pint. And I still have some extra in here that I will pour into a jar for us to use fresh. If your lid seals, the maple syrup is technically shelf stable forever. If the lid does not seal, it is good at room temperature in your pantry for 1 year. And once I do open the maple syrup and we start using it, I do store it in the fridge. All right, that's it. Let me know if you guys have any questions, but hopefully this tutorial helps you out if you're making maple syrup for the first time. Otherwise, have a great maple tapping season and happy homesteading.